Hey, it's Johnny Grube, ManTraining.com. Back here with another blue collar type message here. My thought is with the blue collar work, because most people out there don't make content who are blue collar workers. The only people that make the content about fitness are guys that just go to the gym. So I understand when people don't understand it. Okay, because they're not experienced anybody with blue collar. I've said it before, if a guy who's 35 and his body's already beat up, he's probably weak physically and mentally, okay? Because that doesn't usually happen, okay? Unless that dude is so deconditioned and he probably isn't going to last very long anyhow. And that's just probably because of genetic makeup, because he's just physically and mentally weak. Anyhow, there's an old-time strongman. He's dead now. His name was Steve Justa, okay? A lot of people respect this dude. He got a book out. He's got a couple books. One here people love, Rock, Iron, and Steel. Okay? Now, he's a big dude, and if you check him out, look him up. And he wrote in this book here, I gotta find it now. I gotta put my readers on here. Fucking old man. Alright, this is talking about when he worked in a foundry. Okay? And he writes, I've been lifting for 10 years and was getting pretty good at a lot of lifts, and I was thinking I was getting pretty tough. Which I was. But, he emphasizes but. One day when I'd been working in this foundry, a place where they made steel well head casings and a lot of other steel and iron pieces, the boss walked up to me and moved me to a different job because the guy that usually did this job had called in sick. The guy who called in sick was a small guy and probably didn't weigh 140 pounds. And at the time, I weighed 250. Now, I'd walk by his station quite a few times to get to my grinder station. So I'd see him doing his thing quite a few times, but I never really gave it a second thought. That is, until the day was over, and after a 12-hour shift, that was all I thought about. And until this day, I was still thinking about it quite a bit. But here is a description of what happened. Tough for me to keep up here. The new job I had was to do this. The steel couplers would travel down a conveyor belt from the foundry room and drop off to the ground at my station. And they were still pretty warm when I got them. And they would arrive one right after another all day long with about 3 minutes spacing in between each one. Well, my job was to pick up each one with one hand and hit it with a 10-pound short hammer with the other hand and bang on it with a hammer to knock the hot sticky coarse sand out of it. The pieces varied in weight. Some were 150 pounds, but some weighed as much as 250 and 300 pounds. Then you had to pick them up with two hands and shake the loose sand out. Well, sometimes that sand was pretty stubborn, and you'd end up picking up each piece 10 to 15 times, hammering, shaking, and dropping, and rolling it around, and hammering and shaking and dropping. If you took too long, you'd have a couple of pieces off the conveyor belt backed up on you already. And if you got too far behind, it was pure hell to catch up again. Each piece was quite a bit heavy, with heat resonating up from it, and you were constantly in a bent over round back position. Needless to say, after a couple of hours, I was a wreck physically and mentally. And I kept seeing a picture in my mind of this guy who usually did the job. He was skinny as a rail, and he never even worked up a sweat when he was doing this job. He made it look easy. And here I was thinking I was twice as strong as this guy. But he made his job look easy. But here I was now, with a kick in my ass. This is a fucking well-known strongman who worked in the labor industry. People out there will say, that's impossible. No one could do that. No one could work like that. Bullshit. If you've never seen it, you don't fucking know. Like I said, people weren't videoing back then. People weren't fucking watching people doing that. It was just the fucking way of life. Okay? Just because you can't do it, or your fucking influencer can't do it, doesn't mean it hasn't happened. There's no reason for him to lie. There was no reason for fucking people to not think there's other men stronger that would fucking grab a hold of your neck and just fucking wring it, snap it, just that fucking easy. I said it before. You take a cop who's all muscled up, his strength's all from the gym, he goes out there and pulls over a fucking criminal who doesn't want to go to jail, half his size, he gets his fucking ass kicked. True story. You don't like it? I don't care. Later.